What do you get when you take the Mark 12 Mod O, an Allen Engineering AEM5 suppressor, put it in a large frame gas gun, and scale everything up to 308 7.62 NATO? Stick around. Hey, what's up and welcome, or welcome back to the HK Rifle Works YouTube channel. Now, if you've been around for a while, you've probably realized I don't produce the most exciting content or firearms related content on YouTube, but my main goal for the channel is to bring you the best information, insights, data, and experiences I can to help you out if maybe potentially you're picking up a product, or maybe you're starting your hand loading journey, or you're looking at a specific rifle or setup. My goal is to make sure that you have the most information so you can make an informed decision moving forward. Now, with that being said, if you're new to the channel, just know, if you comment, everything like that, I try and get back to everyone possible, and I really like the smaller channel that we can have more like that two-way communication. So if you have any questions or if you want to drop something down, I'll make sure to check it out and get back with you. Anyways, diving into this rifle here, this just makes me happy. So if you've been around for a while, you know we absolutely love Mark 12s or SPRs on the channel. We've got two Mod Os, a Mod 1, an NSW Recce, a couple other rifles in that space. But when I saw that PRI was releasing a Mark 12 Mod O in a large frame, so in 308 7.62, I just couldn't help myself and I had to dive in. And I haven't seen a whole lot of these out in the wild just yet. I could be wrong, but I just thought it was super cool. I had to dive in. So my goal of this video is just to take you from the back to the front of the rifle. I'm really excited to show you the suppressor. And we can go from there. In the future, I'm going to do some load data for it. I'm going to do some probably shooting out to 800 to 1,000 yards, so see what it can do. But man, for right now, I was just so excited to show y'all. So let's dive in. So at the back here, the first thing that people usually kind of gravitate towards in the Mark 12 line of rifles is they usually say, hey, you need to be running an A2 or rifle length buffer system, right? Or an A2 stock, full length stock. And you've noticed that I'm running a collapsible B5 or LMT stock on this rifle. Now, the reason why I do that is mainly because of eye relief issues with me. So when I am shooting from the prone, I like to have a little bit longer length of pull. And then if I'm shooting from positionally, or if I'm shooting from more of an isosceles stance, I like to run my buttstock one click in from my prone shooting position. That essentially gives me the best eye relief possible. So essentially that's why I run collapsible stocks on my Mark 12s. I've had the question pop up before, but I just wanted to toss that out there as we jump into it. So aside from that, looking at the buffer, I'm just using a standard carbine extension with a standard 308 buffer set. Now, if you're familiar with AR-10s, you know, unlike an AR-15, which has essentially standardized components, you really have to be intentional in the AR-10 space, or LR308, SR25, whichever one that you go for. You have to be intentional in this space just to make sure all the components play nicely together and work in harmony, if that makes sense. So you can have some parts that may not work together on an AR-10. Usually not the case with an AR-15 there. So what I did here is I'm running just a standard 308 carbine buffer set. And what I've done is I've moved away from, I think it's like a 3.8 ounce buffer, and I've incorporated I think it's about a 5.6 ounce give or take buffer, a little bit heavier. I think this is going to be the way that I'm gonna stay. So moving forward from there, we'll look at the charging handle. This is the PRI gas buster for large frame gas guns. Moving to the rear sight, we're running the PRI rear sight. Behind the PRI, it's kind of that full length Mark 12 rail. And just to mention, I'm almost positive these are running on the DPMS high receivers. I'll make note if it's different, but if you don't see a note, we'll call it DPMS high. Moving on to the grip and fire control, I'm running the B5 system grip, good vertical angle, very comfy to build, good trigger dynamics, good trigger press, good follow through. So these are my preferred grips. We're going to be running an ambi safety, Geisley SSAE, generally my preferred trigger for, I'll say, SPRs or DMRs. Just really, really good balance in my opinion. And I like the reliability. I haven't really had any issues out of these as I have in some cassette style triggers, or maybe some more budget style triggers. So definitely a go-to there. Magazines, just for aesthetics right now, I've got a Duramag in here. They seem to be working pretty well. On large frame gas guns, I generally lean towards the Magpul magazines. These can be a little bit finicky, but for right now, I'm going to give these a shot. If they give me any issues, I'll jump back to the Magpuls, but I just wanted to make mention of that. For the bolt, we're just going to be using a standard, I just AR-10 bolt, whatever came with it, but I did do a few things. I ended up swapping out the ejector on this. It's a single ejector, it's not a dual ejector, but I ended up swapping out with the ejector with the JP enhanced ejector kit. Sometimes these AR-10s are a little hard on brass and you can get some swiping or some smearing on the brass. Not to say you're like massively overpressured, but they're just a little harder on brass than some other rifles. So I swapped that out with the JP enhanced ejector, and it really does clean up that brass. Maybe if you're going to be utilizing the brass to reload later, or if you just want to keep your brass in better condition in that case head area, the JP ejectors, that kit usually does a good job. Up top here, we're going to be using the LaRue SPR mount. And for glass, we're going to be utilizing the AccuFire. This is the Atro 20. So it's a 2.5 to 20 power. It's just a really, really good fit on this rifle. I feel like it gives me enough magnification. On the other Mark 12s, if you've seen the other ones, you know we run a lot of the NX8s, the 2.5 to 20s. This is a little bit more budget-minded option than the Night Force. And I don't even know if AccuFire is still around, but I just wanted to make mention that that's what we're using on this rifle. Now up front here, you know we're using the PRI tube, so that's really, really cool. I mean, this is an absolute, it's just super iconic, if you will. So love the tube, got some little bolt-on 1913 segments here, but barrel-wise, we're going to be running the Douglas barrel. So it's essentially it's SPR contour, the whole nine, just like the Mark 12 and 5.56, but it's a 1 in 10 twist, and it's got an M118 LR chamber. So out of the gate, I'm leaning 175s for this rifle. I may try a 168, but I'm just 99% sure I'm gonna be shooting 175s out of this rifle based off of my testing so far. So moving on, we are running the PRI gas block front sight combo. Just a heads up, depending on all the different tolerances of the AR-10, you may have to adjust your front sight a little bit. I had to file this one down just to make sure everything played nicely. Out front, we're going to be using, it's the same exact setup. I know I have the suppressor on and I can't take it off due to YouTube's policies. But up front here, it's going to be the same exact setup as the other Mark 12s and 5.56. So we're going to be running a collar. It's the same profile out in front of the gas block barrel-wise. So we're going to be running the Allen Engineering collar. And I have an Allen Engineering brake on here, but it's obviously threaded 5/8-24 instead of 1/2x28. For this suppressor, it is a AEM5-30. Now, what does that mean? So technically speaking, from what I understand, it's the Allen Engineering or Ops Inc. It's the M24 baffle stack, but it has the AEM5 mounting footprint. Okay, so the M24 suppressor that they came out with, I believe, had just ever so slight differences than the AEM5 or kind of that Mark 12 footprint. But essentially, to make sure everything is super, super easy, Allen Engineering and Trajectory Arms came out and said, hey, let's do the M24 baffle stack with the AEM5 footprint, and we'll just call it good. So it's been a great suppressor so far. I don't know how to explain it. If you've shot the AEM5, like for 5.56 guns or 223 guns, it's just like that, but stepped up to 30 cal. So it's still a little gassy. It's still kind of all the, I don't want to say all the hiccups, but it's got all the pros and all the cons of the 5.56 version. It's just in 30 cal, but it sounds really, really good. I know these suppressors have fantastic just reputations for being very quiet. I really, really like this suppressor, and I'm utilizing this suppressor on a couple of other guns as well. So I've gotten some barrels profiled, and I'm also using the Otter Creek Labs, the over-the-barrel mount, just on some miscellaneous guns. So I'm really enjoying my time with the suppressor. And as always, you know we're running the Atlas bipod out here with the American Defense QD mount. But all in all, the package has been awesome. I've zeroed the rifle so far, and I just did a baseline load of 41 grains of Varget with a 175 Sierra Match King, and the rifle was shooting about 0.8, and I'm going to try and get it out to about 800, 1,000 or further. So if you like what you see, stick around. I know this video is just kind of like, I'm just going to call it show and tell, to be honest with you, but I just thought it was so exciting. I wanted to share. It was kind of more or less like a, hey, did you know video? Because if you like the Mark 12, like I like it, I mean, heck, this may be something that you would be interested in as well. So thank you so much for your time. If you want to chat, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Would you run a Mark 12 in 308 or 7.62 NATO? Tell your friends, tell your family, Tell your dog I said hi. We'll see you in the next one.